I'm at the National Wine Centre on the northwest outskirts of Adelaide CBD. I've just ordered lunch, so I'm looking forward to that, accompanied with a nice chilled glass of rosé. And then afterwards, I think we'll head over to the wine tasting room and sample some really nice Australian and I think predominantly South Australian wines. So I'm quite eager to try those. So I have acquired my wine card. I've provided my credit card as a deposit, and this is really high tech. So I've got a glass and there's over 120 wines that one can sample. The idea is you put the credit card in the little dispensing machine, you choose the wine that you want, you choose whether it's a taste, a half glass or a full glass, hold the glass under the dispenser and wine comes out. And obviously there's different prices for different wines and different quantities of wine. So I'm going to walk over there and select my first wine and give it a go. Okay, I'm going to try a Grenache. I've selected one that looks nice, the Cirillo. And I put the card in. It's clicked. I select the Cirillo.
No, this is sparkling got the cold pressure inside the machine. When you go to order,
Right, and it's finished. And I'll take my card out and I'll sample this. So we've had our first wine, which was the rosé. That was a very nice rosé made from Grenache grapes. It was quite fruity, no tannins, very enjoyable, quite puffable, and it was gone in no time.
What's this one?
This one is a Grenache, so I thought I'd start a red Grenache. Start with sort of a lighter variety. This is a Cirillo Grenache from, I believe, South Australia, but the writing's a little bit far, so it's hard to read. So let's try this one. Quite a delicate nose. Quite a fruity, virtually no tannins. Sort of a cherry taste with slightly sour finish, but really nice, very enjoyable. Quite nice. Give it a go, Joe.
It's a little dry for me.
A little dry?
It's fruity though. It
Quite fruity. Yeah, cherries, yeah. It's quite nice, isn't it?
Quite light.
Quite light? Yeah. It's quite puffable. That was a nice selection. I wonder what I'll come back with next.
So Maximo, which wine is this one?
This is a 2019 Pinotage, which is, I believe, either Spanish or Portuguese variety of wine. It is 2019 O'Leary Walker Pinotage from the Clare Valley in South Australia, where we were not too long ago.
I actually can't smell much.
Can't you?
No.
Not much there?
It's
Quite subtle?
It's very subtle.
Not a fan?
No.
What can you taste?
Dryness.
Dry, quite dry, is it? The limited tasting notes say that it is blueberry, red cherry and coffee. Are you getting any of that?
For me, it is too dry to taste any of that.
Really? Too dry?
I'll be honest. Not a fan.
It is quite a delicate nose. It's quite a light, sort of lighter style. I am moving up from the sort of the lighter to the heavier as we progress. Yeah, cherry. Thank you.
Eggs ready?
Yes.
And the lamb.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Oh, boy.
Thanks.
Thank you. And food has arrived, but it is quite dry. Not as dry as some of the ones we tasted at the Barossa. I did.
Yeah.
This is a sort of lighter. There's a bit of fruit, a bit of.
The lady that served us at Bethany Wine, she said, if you like it, drink it. If you don't, move on.
I quite like this. It's quite a on the second sip, the dryness sort of.
Yeah, I had 2 sips.
Yeah. No. I'm actually enjoying this.
Anyway, this is our lunch.
Lunch.
What have you got? You've got lamb?
I've got lamb shank, perhaps.
You said shoulder, didn't it?
Lamb shoulder, that's what it is.
Small shoulder.
Yeah, and you've got breakfast.
I've got eggs Benedict
Yeah.
with halloumi.
Excellent. Well, unlike some YouTubers that you see all their mastications, we will rejoin perhaps on another wine.
Well, Maximum, what have you selected for our third tasting?
Well, may you ask, Joe. This one is a Cabernet Sauvignon. It is a David Franz Nicki Symphony Cabernet Sauvignon, and it the Barossa Valley in South Australia, where we were yesterday. So this, the tasting notes say that there's black currants, black forest cake, and cocoa.
Yep, it smells different.
A bit heavier than the others.
Yeah, that black forest cake just means cherries.
Cherries. Rich cherries, perhaps.
Getting better.
Getting better? All right.
Yeah. Very different to the
Previous couple?
the same grapes that we tried. I can't remember, we've been to so many places.
We have.
Testing wine. This was very dry when we tried it somewhere else. And then,
The Clare Valley.
I can't remember where we went.
Seven Hill, I think it was quite dry. The Cab Savs, weren't they?
That's really quite nice.
Quite nice,
I
is
like
it?
that.
Right. You're driving. Well, folks, I'll have to get bigger sirs because it's a fight for the tasting.
I like that. Very smooth. A little bit fruity.
It's got a quite nice bouquet.
Not too heavy.
Not too heavy.
Not too light.
Sort of quite delicate, fruity.
I'm not quite sure what the wine term for not heavy and not light is. Do you know?
No. So this is a non-vintage, so I don't really know what year it's from. But you're right. It's quite smooth, fruity. There's just a hint of berry. I think there's cherry and black currant. I can taste that. That is a smooth wine. It's almost
Best one so far.
sweet rather than astringent or really, really nicely controlled, subtle tannins. This is a superb wine to drink now, it really is. So this has been our best so far.
Is it the fourth or the fifth?
It's the fourth.
Fourth.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not drinking much because I'm driving.
Yeah.
So,
What have we here? Is that the question you were dying to ask me?
yeah, and it looks slightly different colour.
It is a Head Wines, the Blonde Shiraz from 2018.
You go first.
I'll go first. So it was the end of the bottle, and I scored a little bit more in my tasting, so it's a bit more wine, which I'm not displeased about in any way, shape or form. So this is quite a rich, heavy, ruby sort of colour. The nose is a typical Shiraz nose, quite fruity, full-bodied. I'll give it a go. That's really nice. It's
Did you go on to the end of it?
It did. It's quite a complex wine. It's initially fruity. Across the palate, sort of the mid palate, it's slightly astringent, but not quite. And then it's sort of quite a smooth aftertaste. There's finish.
Okay.
There's very little in the way of tannins. This is a superb wine. This particular wine is around about $55 a bottle, and I might not have mentioned, but it does hail from the Barossa Valley, where we were yesterday. What do you think of it?
It's a lot more complex.
Complex, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite smooth. It's not tarty. It's not rugged in any way. It's a 2018, so it's probably had a couple of years in the bottle longer than some of the wines that we've tasted of late.
It's quite intense flavours and
Yes.
complex. You're right, it keeps changing.
It does. That's why it took me a while to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
It's very drinkable.
Do you think it's better than the other one?
It's completely different.
It is different, isn't it? Yeah. I quite like it for a. It's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
It is. So I've got a bit to go to finish that one. Stay tuned for, I think it's number 5 next.
We're losing count now about how many you've tasted, but except for that last one, they are very small.
They're small. This is the 5th one, but if you include the rosé that we had, it's number 6.
Yeah.
And the rosé, I don't think we've mentioned. Have we mentioned the rosé? That was very nice, delicate.
Yeah.
It was a South Australian Grenache based rosé that was very, very nice.
So, what's this one?
This one is a 2017 Henschke Knyeton Euphonium Shiraz, Cabernet, Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc and Merlot blend.
Oh, that's a lot going on there.
There is, and it's in the full-bodied section of the tasting.
All right, give it a go.
I shall. Quite sort of a delicate nose on it, a hint of fruit. It's really winey, really. It's not really hard to put a finger on it.
Is that a technical term? Winey?
Winey, yeah.
We speak the common language here. It's winey.
That's quite a complex wine. It starts off fruity, the middle of the palate sort of softens a bit, and then the finish is quite tarty, a little bit peppery, there's some tannins that are fairly pronounced in the finish.
All right. So let's.
The tasting notes say that it's blackberry, currant, and smoked meat. not that handy for a vegetarian.
Doesn't sound very.
And
nice.
this hails from the Barossa in South Australia, and it's around about $65 per bottle.
We're going up in price a lot, aren't we?
We are, as we're going up the range of the wines.
All right. So we've been talking about, well, you have mainly been talking about tannins.
I have.
A lot while we've been tasting all of these wines. So, what is a tannin for people that just like to drink a glass and don't think too much about it? What is a tannin?
Well, this is the very same question I asked the sommelier, thank you.
Wine expert.
Indeed, at the National Wine Centre, and basically he said the tannins are the texture of the wine. It's that the sort of
astringent,
the cloudiness, the imperfections, the properties of the wine, and it has in terms of a taste is quite sort of astringent and quite drying. So a wine that's got heavy tannins, you can describe as sucking sort of the saliva out of your mouth, being quite dry. So that's quite an interesting wine, isn't it? What's your take on it, Joe?
Oh, it's very smooth.
It has got that sort of tannin-y aftertaste though. It's a bit drying.
A bit dry after, yeah.
Aftertaste, yeah. So it's a 2017, so it's that's had already a few years in the bottle.
Just not quite so much going on complexity-wise as the previous one.
No.
The other one was like, a bit of a party in your mouth.
It was like, a lot was happening. That was sort of more smoother. It's more consistent through the palate.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of different tastes coming out.
No. It's not as initially fruity as the previous one.
Yeah.
It's still a very nice wine.
It's quite nice, yeah.
And before we go on to our sixth sample, we must say that the lamb shoulder that I had was superb. It was probably one of the best. I'd say it was the best meal I've had in Adelaide. We've been here for 9 days. It's by far the best meal that I've had. And yours
mine was okay. Mine was completely different now.
You had sort of a breakfasty dish.
I had eggs Benedict. But it's interesting here. So where we're sitting, we are back against this sort of staircase. I don't know what it is behind us actually, but we're looking out across, the bar area. Lots of people having their, drinks and food. And it did actually take us 40 minutes to get our food, but it wasn't a problem.
No, because there's plenty to do and taste.
You can people watch.
Indeed.
And it's interesting to see what everybody else is tasting. I think that lots of people pre-bought, whereas we didn't. We're more sort of turned out and see what's going on, people, aren't we? They pre-booked, and certainly the two tables that are closest to us seem to be having a wine tasting and food tasting
degustation. Yeah, multiple plates of food and not
multiple plates keep coming out, don't they?
And not small plates either. It's like
but they're sharing plates. So it looks really good.
And there's a lot of wine coming, so I hope none of those people are driving.
All of the tables around here, multiple glasses of wine.
Indeed, reds and whites and all sorts of things.
And I mean,
we've been here for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's a bit over an hour and a half now.
Yeah, so
and,
it's
doesn't really feel like a long time.
No, it's been
nice and relaxed.
Quite enjoyable. Yeah.
Very nice price. Very nice price.
On to number 6.
Okay, this is our last one.
Our 5th and last tasting.
Is it not the 6th?
Well, it's a 6 wine overall, but
whatever.
Our 5th tasting.
Whatever. So Maximo just left his card in the machine. from the previous one and had to run over. Luckily, no one had taken it.
No.
We were just speculating earlier, what if you left it in the machine? And I said, well, you know, the people look very nice in here, they'd probably just leave it there.
I'll see how many wines
And they
are on
did.
there. There might be 30 wines on there.
Okay, so this is, we're getting more expensive, aren't we?
Yeah, this is from the last of the batches of wine that we're going to sample. It's from their cellar door release. So all the wines in this section have been aged in a bottle for a number of years. This particular tipple is a 2016 Penfolds Bin 389 Shiraz Cabernet. It's multi-region from South Australia, so they're probably picking the best grapes from all their vineyards in South Australia and bottling this
Shiraz.
as a Cabernet Shiraz as a Bin 389, and it's often described as the baby Grange Hermitage or the poor man's Grange, whichever way you wish to.
And what would a poor man pay for this particular bottle?
Well, I think this particular bottle would sell for around about the $100 a bottle mark, compared to a Grange Hermitage that sells for probably about $700 or $800 a bottle. You're not a fan? You can have another try.
I don't think I've ever tasted wine like that.
Never. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I would say that has tannins.
Has it?
Yeah. No, I know a bit more about tannins.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird if it's older.
Well, it's had probably at least 5 years in the bottle, so you think that some of the tannins should have
You can
fallen
tell me
out.
if it has, but I
Okay.
taste fruity, and I think I've got a bit of a chocolatey finish.
Yeah. It's quite a delicate nose. It's not really.
Well, have a tipple.
It's quite a complex wine. It sort of starts off a bit fruitier. The middle of the palate is maybe like slightly sour, and there are some tannins in the finish. I think it's quite a complex wine.
Okay.
I'll try another one. Certainly there's some fruit, whether it's, I don't think it's cherry, it's more sort of blackcurrant or something like that. There's like a hint of either chocolate or licorice or something. It's quite a full-bodied wine, isn't it? It's quite full-bodied. You could probably do with at least another 5 years in the bottle to become even smoother. But the tannins are there, but not that pronounced. It's quite nice drinking now. I mean, I remember buying and having these bottles maybe 20-25 years ago. It was certainly the Bin 389 is seen as to be like a good, expensive bottle, but 25 years ago it wasn't. It was like the more affordable bottle that one had. But yeah, I'm not sure which the best has been.
That's lost track a bit, but I think 2 or 3 back.
Yeah, probably the Nicki Symphony Cabernet Sauvignon was probably the best out of all of them. I mean, this is nice, but that was
Yeah.
the best drinking
Yeah,
today.
I think that was the one that I liked the best.
Yeah, I think so. Well, this has been a very, very enjoyable, relaxing Saturday afternoon here at the National Wine Centre in Adelaide. We've really had a good time. We've been here for nearly 2 hours, and we'll stay a bit longer if but I think 6 wines is probably enough to try. Now, if you've liked this, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll endeavour to do more wine and gin and whiskey reviews in the coming days, weeks and months. Probably a few more at home for the next few sessions. But on that very pleasing note, we've probably got one. Cheers.